How's it going, everyone? I'm Matt from Universal Audio, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Studio D Chorus plugin. This plugin was based on an iconic hardware unit from the 70s, and even if you're not familiar with the original hardware, you've definitely heard countless records that used it on everything from synths, vocals, guitars, and more. There's 4 main modes that specialize in making sounds more interesting by adding subtle movement and depth, but you can also push it into more extreme territory by combining the modes for more intense variations. And as great as it is as a creative effect, it's equally as great as a mixing tool for crafting wider stereo mixes, or even as a way to keep sounds from clashing without needing EQ or compression. Let's check out a few ways to get the most out of this classic effect. Now, just a quick note before we get started, this plugin is all about stereo processing, so you're going to want to make sure you listen on headphones or monitors to get the full effect. So 2 of the main reasons that I usually reach for the Studio D are its subtlety and its simplicity. It's perfect for adding subtle movement and depth to mixes without hitting you over the head with the effect like some chorus effects tend to do, and its simple controls make it easier to focus on the sound instead of the settings. I think one of the best ways to show off the strength of the Studio D's subtlety is on bass, which is really tricky to get right with some choruses. So let's load it up on our synth bass track. So like I mentioned, the controls on this thing are super simple. There's just 4 buttons that choose the intensity of the effect, and then another button to choose mono or stereo operation. So I'm going to set this to off. I'll play back this bass track, and then I'll cycle through each of the modes so you can hear what they're doing. So on that 4th mode, you can really start to hear the effects swirl around and create some interesting movement, still without being too overpowering. But on a synth bass like this, I think I like it better on one of the lower settings. So let's set this back to 2 and hear what it sounds like in the context of the full track. So I like the way the lower modes on the Studio D create some width in the bass to match the other stereo elements in the mix without hitting you over the head with the effect and being too overpowering. So for this next example, let's take a look at another less traditional use for a chorus plugin, and that's on my percussion bus. In this case, I want to leave the kick and snare dead center, but I want to widen the hi-hat and other percussion to create some interesting stereo flavor. So just like last time, I'll start with the effect turned off, and then I'll cycle through each of the modes so you can hear what they're doing. So just like last time, as soon as I turn the effect on, you can hear the percussion instantly get wider. On those 3rd and 4th modes, the effect is pretty noticeable, but it also starts to smear those transients a little bit, which I don't like. So I think the 2nd mode is perfect for this case. Now let's hear this in the context of the full drum bus. So the effect is pretty subtle, but you can hear the kick and snare stay dead center, and the percussion and other elements just start to widen a little bit around it, giving the rhythm section a little bit bigger stereo image. So even though the Studio D excels at subtlety, that's not the only trick it has up its sleeve. Just like the original hardware, you can actually select multiple modes at once by holding down the Shift key and clicking additional buttons to get an even more intense variation of the effect. So for this last example, I have the Studio D loaded up on my whirly track, and before I turn on the chorus effect, let's see what the whirly sounds like in the mix. So with those stereo enhancements we've added to the rhythm section, the whirly is sounding a little small being dead center in the mix. So let's see if we can make it larger than life by using some of the more extreme modes on the Studio D. So with all 4 modes enabled, you can hear the Studio D starts to go into more extreme territory, which can be a really cool, vibey effect for anything you want to make larger than life. In this case, I like it 1 step back from the most extreme setting, so let's hear that in the context of the full mix. Hopefully that gives you some ideas for how you can use the Studio D chorus plugin in your projects. There's so many other uses for this thing. If you have a favorite use for Studio D, leave us a comment down below and let us know. This is one chorus plugin that can find a home on almost any track in any genre, whether you use it creatively as a sonic sweetener or as a mix utility for creating space and a dense arrangement. For more info, check out the product manuals at help.uaudio.com, and don't forget to subscribe to the Universal Audio YouTube channel for more tips and tricks. I'm Matt from UA, and I'll see you next time.